So our final guest tonight, as I mentioned earlier, is with She Publishing LLC, and they are a friend to the show. And they also come to the National Black Book Festival every year with several authors. So tonight we have Royce Dixon Sr. as our guest that we're going to be finding out about him. Now you have on your frat t-shirt.
Well, before
And
we say
what?
anything else,
Okay. Okay.
before we say anything else,
Okay.
Happy Founders Day, Fred.
Now, I was going to say something only because my daughter is a Zeta. She's dating a Sigma, and they're at a Sigma's Founders Day event.
Yes, it is
So I
Founders
knew about it.
Day. 5
I knew
days.
about it.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Yeah, so welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, and you were at this year's National Black Book Festival. I didn't get an opportunity to meet you, I don't think,
Yes, ma'am.
one-on-one, because I'm working when I'm at the event. So,
Right.
but when I received the hundreds of pictures that our photographer takes, and I have to go through them and label them. And then I found your picture, but I didn't know who you were. And then I think I found another picture and it showed you with She Publishing. So that was how I knew that you were with She Publishing. And then I think we posted the pictures. We did. We posted an array of pictures from She Publishing, and yours was one of them. So I hope you had an enjoyable time at this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
And we always like Shanita is an awesome person, and she's built an awesome organization and her group of authors. What I like about them, the ones she brings, and she brings several, everybody is so upbeat. All of our authors are very, very enthusiastic and the kind of people you just want to talk to. You know, so Royce, tell us about your book, and then you're working on another book, and you mentioned a few other things I want to on your bio that I want to ask you about.
Okay.
But first, tell us about your book, and if you have a copy, do you have a copy of it?
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
Hidden Feelings book.
So this is my first copy.
Okay.
I know it's kind of hard to see because I keep it in the plastic because it was my original copy that she sent me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know how special that is.
Yeah.
So it's
this
called, what's the title?
The title is Hidden Feelings Revealed. It's part 2 of my very first book that I wrote, Hidden Feelings.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's actually your second book, and then you're working on your third book.
I actually have 4 books out. I have another book that I did, Blessed While Broken. This is a story about my wife and I, our divorce, and then getting remarried, and now how we help others to stay connected before you get down to get to divorce court.
Okay. And I think that was one of the things I was going to ask you about.
Yeah. And then I have a children's book, JoJo's Learning Adventures, which I self-published this one. I did all the illustrations for it. This is about a 4-year-old boy who just loves to learn different things. Every day he tries to learn something new.
Okay.
But Hidden Feelings is basically about why men have a hard time sharing their feelings or showing emotions. It talks about some of the reasons my main character, what he went through as a child and how it affects him at a later age. You know, he grew up with his father died early, so it was just him and his mom. He's a single young man, and he's an attorney who talks for a living but doesn't know how to communicate with his girlfriend when his mom dies. And she kind of gives him an ultimatum: either you let me in, let me help you, or this ain't gonna work. And so they break up, and then in part 2 you find out and she also had a baby. You find out if they had a baby together and how Troy got past his own insecurities and learned how to talk and communicate with his girlfriend.
Yeah, I think we talked about this book before, and one of the things that strikes me is that this character is a lot like men who don't want to express their real feelings because they don't want to show any signs of weakness. And to express how they really feel is to admit that there may be a kink in the armor, that they may not be as strong as they're saying they are. And that can often be a fallacy.
Right. Most men don't want to show that their vulnerable side, especially to someone that they care about, because sometimes in a relationship, that'll come back in their face. and it hurts too much. So rather than doing that again, we just shut down altogether, or we build this wall so that we won't be hurt. But the thing about building a wall, nothing gets out, but nothing comes in either. So it's difficult for a lot of men to share that vulnerable side or show that vulnerable side.
So, but how do you get past something like that? I mean, because I feel like sometimes, and this is even for women, especially Black women, because we're always told we have to be strong.
Mhm.
But in this case, we're talking about men. How do you work through that wall to where you can express your feelings and not show weakness or not feel like you're showing weakness?
Right. I think it comes with time. It comes with maturity, having the right person in your life. Like for me, I was that guy who didn't want to show my weaker side. But my wife allowed me, she gives me the space to become vulnerable. She makes me comfortable, where I can feel like I can tell her anything. And once I began to get comfortable with her and she showed me that she wouldn't hurt me, then it became a lot easier. But for a lot of guys, it's just hard. It's something that you gotta get past. I think maybe if we go and talk to someone else, talk to another man, that may be easier for you because that man won't see you as vulnerable. He'll just see you as you being you. When you develop these relationships with your friends. Like, of course, I got fraternity brothers that I know I can go and talk to, and I never have to worry about our secrets leaving one another. So, and then too, even with my own dad, I can go and talk to my dad about anything and everything, and so that makes it easier for me to learn how to talk to her because he'll give me valuable tips. So maybe even find an older man or pastor or somebody that you can talk to. But we all need somebody to talk to.
That is true. Because we're all humans. We need to share.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to, sometimes you want to hear a person's point of view, but sometimes you just want to talk.
Right.
You don't need them to give you advice or anything. You just need to get it out. And that's true for women as well.
And I've noticed too, like people will go on Facebook and vent, but they'll go back. They only show the good side of what's going on in their lives on Facebook. You never see the bad, so you never know what a person's going through. Once I went through the divorce, and I began to talk about our divorce, I found other men coming to me like, "Man, I'm going through that same thing," and then they start asking questions, and now you can create that dialogue to where I can help somebody else, or they can help me, or what vice versa. They can help the next person. But it wasn't until I became transparent, stopped showing all the good stuff, that yeah, I go through things. Like you said, I'm human, and we're going to make mistakes. We're going to all fall short. But at the end of the day, we should be here to lift one another up.
Well, one thing that you said that I want to touch on is the partner, the man's partner,
Mm-hmm.
creating a safe place for him to feel vulnerable and not having to be afraid that that same vulnerability is going to be weaponized against him. So if I want my significant other to be honest with me, to let me know how he really feels, I have to prove myself to be somebody who's trustworthy enough for him to confide in. And if I don't do that, then he's never going to open up to me.
Right. And it goes back to the old story of Samson and Delilah.
Yeah.
Delilah tricked Samson into telling her all his secrets by she made him comfortable. Lay your head in my lap. She stroked his ego. She did all these little things that built him up. It was for his downfall at the end of the day, but at the same time, that's how she got him to do it. That's how women can get men to open up when you give them that vulnerable space, but also allow them to trust you enough that when they tell you something, that you're not going to weaponize it and throw it back in their face later on down the road. And so
Well,
once you do that,
part of that was his fault
right,
because he was ignoring those red flags. Every time he opened up to her, she used it against him, but he still kept opening up to her.
right. But you see, he still kept going back because she kept making him comfortable. And that's
Yeah,
really how
well,
men are.
that was more about lust. And so that is lots of times men get caught up in that and they miss out on a woman who could be for them and by their side and support them 100%. But they're so caught up in the esoterics that they don't see the commitment and they take that for granted. A lot of times, by the time they realize that what they have is just it's not real, it's just then it's too late. So, but that's part of it. Now, I will say on social media, I would I would advise people in a marriage or any kind of relationship, keep your relationship off of social media
Yes.
because nothing good can come from that. People, I'll give you a recent example is this whole thing with Simone Biles and her husband. And where he was interviewed and said something and people took it out of context and tried to make Simone feel bad. And, you know, it's just best to keep your relationship because for one, social media is not your friend. The people are your friends, but they're not your friends. They're just people. And you sometimes seem like every week they just need something to talk about. It's some kind of gossip that they can talk about for the week. And your personal relationship with your spouse or your significant other should be personal. It should not be on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. And I tell people the only thing you should really post is your anniversary. Say it's our anniversary. That's it. Everything else is really not for public consumption because people would use it against you. It's all kind of people trying to get with your mate. It's if you show that y'all are having a problem, somebody will swoop in and try to take advantage. It's just not the place for relationship advice or just anything with a
I
relationship.
agree.
That's my 2 cents.
I agree to a certain extent because I celebrate my wife every day, every chance I get, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, just in life in general. When they see us out, you'll see how much I love my wife. And
Oh,
so
I
I
don't
just
mean like that. I
no,
don't
I'm
mean
just saying,
I
in
mean
general,
like
I don't really
problem.
post our intimate stuff. But like even when we went through the divorce, and I got hundreds of friends on Facebook, but not many people knew that I went through the divorce or that even we had got back together. And so when they found out when I wrote the book, they were like, "You got divorced?" Like, yeah,
Now,
we were
how
divorced for
long
almost
were
2 years.
you all apart when you got divorced? How long was it
We
between?
were apart for maybe 6 months, but we got
So you got divorced and then 6 months later y'all got back together?
yeah, and then 2 years to the date that we got married on, we got remarried. So we were divorced for what a year and maybe year and a half or so.
Okay.
But yeah, it was it was a hard time. But when people saw us, we never bashed each other or nothing like that. So that's why I say a
Mhm.
lot of people didn't even know that we were divorced until the book came out. And then they're
Right.
like, I didn't know.
And I do want to be clear. I mean, putting your problems on Facebook. That's what I
Right.
mean.
Right.
I mean, if you want to
I would
praise your wife every day, that's great.
I would say this. I believe because you brought up the Simone Biles thing. I believe that people got upset because just like Royce said that he celebrates his wife. And I didn't hear any of the interview. I'm only going by what was in the article. So he might have said something great about her before or after this piece. I don't know. But the fact that he did not, when he was directly asked about his wife, he took that time to and made it look like he was dimming her light. I didn't know who she was. She reached out to me. The man is the prize. And when you made those comments and then he never came back and said, but I'm happy to have her. She's been a blessing to me. Or even after all of this stuff exploded, he still never came back and celebrated his wife. And I think that's what people got upset about. So that's
Well,
why
I agree that it shouldn't have never been said.
like what Royce is saying.
Mhm.
He's saying that he takes every opportunity to celebrate his wife. It doesn't mean he has to worship his wife because we only worship the Lord. But the fact is that he takes the time to show everybody that his wife is a blessing to him and that his wife is a valuable part of his life.
No, I agree with that. I think that's great. And yeah, I'm not. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I'm talking about putting your problems on social
Right.
Yeah.
media.
Right.
Talking when you all have a rift, people should not know your problems like that. It
Right.
shouldn't be a discussion for other people because they can't solve it anyway. You have to come together and solve it. So, but I applaud you for celebrating your wife. That's great. And men, that would be something that a tip for some people who may not know that they should do that, or it would be a good idea. And just like I say too, a kind word turns away wrath. Like if you have an argument or whatever, a kind word, and that's biblical, a kind word can turn the whole thing around. So, you know, there's you know, a marriage is not uh it's not like the wedding is just an event. A lot of people they focus so much on the wedding and they forget about the marriage,
Yeah.
the relationship. I've been married 31 years, so um to the same person, and we didn't break up or anything, but I was married before very briefly to someone else. So I just learned a lot about I didn't what I didn't want in a mate and what I did want in a mate. That's what I learned.
You set
So,
standards.
you know,
Well,
yeah.
Royce, you have a huge year coming up. You have a new book
Mhm.
coming out. You
Yes.
meet me here in DC. What else do you have going on?
And he's
Uh,
a bailiff. Are you a bailiff now?
yes, ma'am. I'm a
He's a
bailiff. I'm a
bailiff.
photographer, author.
He's a
Uh,
busy man.
I do a little bit of everything. I run the social media department at my church. So I do a lot, but my next thing is, like I said, I'm going to be in DC in February, the 22nd through the 25th. And then I know I want to go back to Houston again, but I'm doing some photo shoots in Chicago. So I got a couple things in the works. I'm not sure how much I can really talk about it about. Some things with She Publishing we got coming up. That's going to be really exciting. And hopefully one day I can get one of these books turned into a movie.
All right. Well, tell us about the new book. What's the new book about? Are you ready to talk about it yet?
A little bit. I can talk about it. I know the title for sure is going to be A Rose on the Concrete Court. It's about these two twin brothers who play basketball. Their last name is Rose, which is why that Rose on the Concrete Court.
Okay.
But they grew up in the same household with the same mother and father, and they take two different paths. You know, a lot of times we think that people who grew up in the same household are always going to be on the same path. And that's not always the case. Not
Not at
necessarily
all.
that one's a bad kid or one's a good kid. They just choose two different ways to go about life. And at the end, these two brothers are going to come back together and do something spectacular. So that's all I'm really ready to say about the book, but I'm excited about it. It's going to be a really good book with some twists and turns into that you may not see coming.
Okay. And that what you said was very true about people growing up, you know, in the same household. And but they're still individual. You know,
Yeah.
we all have our own individual soul, our own individual personality.
Mhm.
And you can be raised in the same household, same parents, and but it just, you know, birth order has a factor, but a lot of it is just individual personality, just
Yeah. Yeah.
you know who you are, and the relationship with each other, with the siblings and the parents. It's
Yeah.
all of that.
So
So,
it's got some a little bit of me, a little bit of my brother in it. And so once you get to once you get the chance to meet my brother, we'll do some interviews and stuff on my podcast, and you'll see how the book kind of takes form after that.
okay, now what is your podcast? What do you focus on with your podcast?
Marriage, relationships. It's me and my wife. We have a marriage ministry called I Still Do Ministry. I Still Do Relationship Ministries, to where
Okay.
we talk about different relationship topics and stuff like that. And then every now and then I'll get together with a group of guys and we'll just sit down and have a guy talk, you know, a roundtable discussion on different issues that affect men.
Okay.
All
Now
right.
you are,
That's that man, almost that man cave type thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like on Ready to Love when they're all sitting around with their drinks and cigars and just talking about the women.
right. Definitely something similar to that. The last one we did, we kind of talked about men's mental health and how important it is, because a lot of times, like, you know, going back to the books, Hidden Feelings, that we keep all this stuff buried inside and we never let it out. But around a group of men, like we in the barbershop, men talk about everything.
Mhm.
So that's what I kind of want to bring to the roundtable discussion when we have it with men.
Hmm. Now, what some this happens with some men. A man will be hurt by a woman, and then it's like and I guess it happens with women too, but it seems like it's harder with men or something, where a woman will hurt a man, and then he's just after that he just won't let women in, like in here anymore, and he has to almost be mean.
Yeah,
Mm.
and it happens. And when you look at it, look at how men grow up as babies growing up. If the little boy falls down, you tell him to get up, pick himself up, be a man. Don't cry. Men ain't supposed to cry. So what are we telling our young men but to suppress your feelings? You're not supposed to let it out. And then they go and they see it on TV. You know, then you don't see your dad cry. You don't see your dad really show any feelings or his showing his emotions. So this is how you grow up. You thinking this is the way I'm supposed to be, when all along that's not true at all. It's okay to cry. It's okay to share your feelings. You know, but when our daughter falls, that same exact scenario, when our daughter falls, we tell them, oh, come here, tell daddy what's wrong. Tell mommy what's wrong. So you're telling her to let it out, but you told your
Right.
son to let it in, keep it in.
And then when the girl gets older, she gets punished for being too emotional.
Right. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword for kids growing up, period. You know, unless you have parents who really sit down and think about what they're doing, what they're saying, and how what they're portraying in front of their kids really affects them, not just when they're little, but as they grow older, because we tend to take those same habits and put them in our own households.
That's true, because we are once we're molded and kind of, well, we repeat some of the things that we liked. Well, sometimes we don't even realize we're repeating the negative things. We don't even know that we're doing it. Right. Unless somebody points it out, and they have to point it out in the right way.
That's so true. Like I said, even if, like, for instance, if your mom is teaching you how to cook, sometimes she don't tell you why she's doing it. This is just the way she do it. So then you grow up, you start cooking those same dishes, and you do it the exact same way. You don't know why you did it that way. It's just the way mom showed you.
Mm-hmm.
What if it was wrong all this time, and you've been doing it wrong all this time?
Yeah, when I was married, my ex-husband was to get on my nerves because I'll be cooking. My mama didn't do it like that. Your mama not cooking.
Right, right.
Leave me alone.
My husband didn't say that, thank God. But he had a different relationship with his mother, so he didn't really have that. And so, but you know, that would have made me mad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get out of here.
The first time we were married, and you know, growing up, we got married when we were 20. So I would always live with my parents. So when I got married, I'm living on my own with just me and my wife and the kids. I'm expecting my wife to do the same things that my mother did. Well, she didn't grow up like my mother, so she don't have that same routine, so to speak. She's gonna do things her way, the way her mother taught her. So now I'm looking at her like, why are you doing this though? This ain't the way mama did it. Not realizing I'm putting my expectations on her, you know, from what I saw my mother, I'm putting those expectations on her, and that wasn't fair to her.
Yeah, I don't think that would have gone over there. That probably went over like a lead balloon.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, too funny.
Now, I want to find out about you being a Sigma, just since you have on your frat shirt. Yeah. And where did you pledge? I'm not Greek, so but Rhonda is Zeta, and so but my daughter is Zeta, so that's why I know about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't even know about all the Sigma Founders Day and all that. But where did you pledge? And
February 9th, 2011, with the incredible the magnificent New Pi Sigma, right here in Rockville, Illinois. I pledged grad chapter, but one of the best things I ever did.
Oh, okay. So you did grad chapter.
Yep.
Oh, wait, how close is Rockville to Chicago?
It's an hour and a half drive, depending on what part of Chicago you're going to. Some parts 2 hours.
I might not see you then. My daughter's going audition for grad school, and we have to go to Chicago. So okay. I'm just gonna let you know when I was in the area, but that's a little bit of a drive when you don't know where you're going.
Just let us know. Just let us know where you're gonna be at.
Oh, okay, I'll do that.
Like I said, it's not that far. I mean, it's not that bad at all.
Yeah, we had another author that was from Rockford, Illinois, not too long ago. The guy who had the book called The Preacher and then The Pimp.
Yeah, Ralph Hawthorne.
Yeah, you know him?
Yes, ma'am. And he was in Houston with us too.
He was. Yep. Okay, yeah. So because Rockford's not a big town, a big city. Yeah.
About 150,000 people.
Okay, well that's a decent size though.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was on the show, and he's a minister too. He was on the show maybe 3 months ago, something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
Chicago's starting to be popping. Everybody in Illinois now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cold. Is it snow on the ground?
Oh my God. We had a snow warning. We're supposed to get 6 to 12 inches of snow. Thank God we didn't get it though.
No, thank you.
We didn't get it. So we got lucky. But it's supposed to snow again tomorrow, so we never know. Yeah. It doesn't last too long.
So is it as cold there as it is in Chicago? Because Chicago's are at the lakes.
Yes,
So
ma'am. It's not as cold, but it gets cold. When it's -20, -30, it's all cold.
well, that's true.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be getting us some cold days next week for us in Houston. It's supposed to go down in the 20s at night for a couple
Really?
of nights. That's a major
Okay.
thing here.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to get, I think, -7 with the wind chill. So,
Yeah, so we don't.
-7. No, thank you.
So I hope this year, the last time when we had the deep freeze, Rhonda, you remember we lost power and I had to do the show from my daughter's car outside because her
wow.
car was parked in the driveway. I couldn't um, get the garage open other than on manual. So I just did it. I did the whole show from my daughter's car.
Well, I'll
Wow.
tell you this. It's cold here, but it's gonna feel like summertime to you. If you're dealing with -7 weather out there,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah,
gonna weather here in DC when you come next month.
Oh, I can't wait.
I don't know what that feels like. I've never been in anything that cold. I have been in like like 10 degrees, not here, but when I lived on the East Coast. But
Yeah, but he
um
said -7.
yeah, but the negative, not below zero. I've
And
never
that it
experienced
gets
that.
colder. It gets colder than that.
So all right, I'll make sure I bring my coat when we go up to Chicago at the end of the
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. Get you some gloves too.
Yeah, I'm about to say I gotta get my good coat.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to dress for the weather,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That's what it boils down to.
because
Yeah.
otherwise you'll regret it. So anyway, so Royce, show your book again, Hidden Feelings Revealed, and that's your Hidden Feelings,
Yeah,
and
hold
then
it
the
close to you,
sequel,
big.
Hidden Feelings Revealed, and then you have a new book coming out this
Yeah.
year sometime
Yes.
later on.
In
But
2024.
you're going to be at Rhonda's event
Yes.
at the end of February, and hopefully we'll see you in October at the National Black Book Festival
Oh yeah, I
again.
definitely want to come back. I really enjoyed myself there, so looking forward to it.
Okay, well, Happy New Year, and congratulations on your
Thank
books
you.
and all the stuff that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So,
Thank
Aurora, thank you.
you. And I will see you. Well, I think I'll see you in a couple of weeks on my show, and then I'll see you next month for the Black History Month Literary Weekend. I'm
Yep.
excited.
Yeah, me too. Can't wait.
Okay, you take care. Have a
All right,
great
you too. Bye.